There's so many different factors that create an attachment. So now, if you were hoping that you would grow to love him and you're in year 2 or 3 and you've come to the realization, it just ain't happening. I just don't feel for him like that. But now it's, how am I going to walk away? How do I break this to the kids? How do I do this to the kids? How do I tell my family? How do I even validate leaving this man? Because in these scenarios, this is typically not the bad man. He may not be the right man for you, but he's not a bad man. He's not doing anything blatantly disrespectful, abusive, anything that you can use and say, hey, this is the reason why I have to leave. So now you have to find a way, and that's how a lot of women feel. You have to search for a way to validate leaving him, and everyone on the outside is going to say to you, you're crazy. What are you doing? He's such a nice guy. He doesn't do anything wrong. I thought you guys were in love, because throughout these 2 years, you're probably not going around telling people, I'm going to grow to love him. You're probably saying, I love him. So they're under the impression that everything's great. All that to say, a lot of women end up finding themselves, I hate using the word stuck, so I'm going to use the word struggling to walk away. All right? Because stuck would insinuate that there's no way out. And I believe there's a way out, but it's a struggle to walk away. And so that's why you don't want to go with the grow to love him. But getting back to the dating down, that's also a piece of the dating down, is that as you're attempting this whole love, get with the man who loves you more than you love him, you're hoping for things to really possibly materialize later, or for you to be able to sustain this. And in my years of doing this, and you got to understand, I get to see relationships 1 year in, months in, 5 years in, 10 years in, and at the end when it's all done. And I have yet to see the woman who can be happy and have a fulfilling relationship over the long run in a situation like this. It doesn't happen because, again, this guy isn't what you truly want. It's who you're trying to tolerate and accept to fit into this box of him loving you more than you love him for the sake of false security. But there's more. So let's think about the story I gave you. In a lot of these situations, the woman thinks this is the key to not getting cheated on. Right? Because if he loves me more than I love him, and he's so into me and infatuated with all these things, well, he's not going to do that. On top of the fact that if you're viewing him as a man who's not highly desirable, because that's the thing, it's not just dating down for you. The reality is that in this type of situation, he's not saying he's not desirable at all, but he ain't top of the totem pole. All right? He's not up there. You're not really worried about a bunch of other women getting him, which creates that false sense of security. However, what happened in that story I gave you? That tends to happen a lot. He still cheated. Now, some of you may say, oh, because he's a man. No, it's not because he's a man. It's not automatic men are going to cheat. There are underlying issues that contribute to why things go this way. Yes, there are some situations out there where cheating happens because the person is just, that's how they live, or they're greedy, or there's just all kinds of other things. But let's ignore that for a second. Let's focus on this situation. When you get with a man who, quote unquote, loves you more than you love him, there's one of 4 things that's likely to happen. Either he will cheat, become toxic, become extremely unfulfilling, or flat out leave you. All right? And here is why. Because all reasons stem from the same thing. If you are getting with a man like this, again, you're dating down, you're not really into him. Therefore, your desire to pour into him the way that he will need is not going to be there. And let's backtrack a little bit. Because in the beginning, what happens is, in his over pursuit of trying to be with you, prove himself to you, whatever, it creates this lopsided situation where it's really him giving and pouring into you, and not really requiring much of you in return. Because his focus is, I have to get her at all costs. I'm so happy to have her. I can't believe I got a woman like this. All that, right? But I always say, if it starts off one-sided, it's going to somehow switch to the other side at some point in the relationship. Because at some point after he gets you, the smoke clears. And now his needs start to actually kick in. Now he figures, okay, well, now that we're together, all the things that I dream, because during the time he was just doing for you and putting it all about his efforts, he still was dreaming and fantasizing about the things he would one day get from you. But he was willing to put it on the back burner because, again, he viewed you on such a high of a pedestal. But once that's gone because he has you, all right, and not that he's no longer viewing you on a high pedestal, but now he's like, okay, where's my return on the investment? When do I now get my needs fulfilled? Okay? Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Relationships are the key to a successful life. But there's 5 areas that we have to be mindful of when it comes to relationships. There's relationship with God, relationship with ourselves, relationship with family and friends,